Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? In this pick a card video, we're going to focus on those people who are currently in a relationship, and your chosen card is going to give you some information on how you can improve your relationship. So it's going to be basically advice from the cards on what to do, how to be, how to think about your relationship. If you like these types of videos, please let me know in the comments, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to give you 3 options to choose from. This petrified wood is option number 1. The selenite is option number 2. And the hematite is option number 3. So if you've already made your mind up, you can skip to that part of the video where we talk about your card. But you can also wait for me to lay down the cards. I'm using the beautiful Wild Unknown Tarot for today's reading. And if you happen to be single, but somehow stumbled upon this reading, I've already made a version for single people as well, which you can find on my channel. Alright, so number 1. Number 2. And finally, number 3. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to make your choice, and then we're going to jump right in with the first option. So if you've picked the petrified wood option, your card is the 9 of Cups. Cups resonate with the astrological element of water. So we're in the realm of emotions completely. And the 9 of Cups is an interesting card when it comes to relationships, because I like to call this card selfish happiness. Now, this might be a misleading title or a misleading term, but what I mean by that is that this 9 of Cups is different from all the other cards in this suit because it focuses on individual satisfaction, individual happiness. Now, you might ask yourself, how does that play into relationships? Of course, the way we think about relationships of all kinds, romantic relationships included, is that we need to make sacrifices, we need to compromise, we need to cooperate and work together. So the idea of selfish happiness might seem foreign to you. But I think that's exactly what this card is getting at, is to not lose sight of, to not forget about the point of being in a relationship. If you find that in order to maintain the relationship, you need to make sacrifices and choices that chip away at your personal happiness in considerable ways. When it has a severe impact on your own self-actualization process, that's where, at some point, you're going to have to draw a line. And that's where the relationship, sooner or later, is going to run out of gas. And it will be harder and harder to maintain when the parties involved in the relationship are not getting the necessary emotional nutrition out of the relationship that would be a motivating force for the relationship to function. So it's always a balancing act between what you want and what your partner wants. But the main focus of your attention, according to the Nine of Cups, should be your own happiness. And that's not to say that you should completely disregard or ignore your partner's needs. Not at all. But it is telling you that your happiness, your personal happiness, is your responsibility. It is up to you to stand up for and to, quote unquote, fight for what makes you happy within the relationship. Obviously, along the way, you're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to give things up. But if you give up things that are core components of what makes you individually happy, then you're going to betray yourself. You're going to not be your own best friend in the context of the relationship. And sooner or later, the relationship is inevitably going to fall anyway. So it's important to know what sort of things make you happy in a relationship. It's important to be very acutely, or with lots of clarity, to be tuned into what your personal happiness factors are. That, of course, requires a level of self-knowledge that comes from being able to feel your feelings. A lot of us who have been through trauma find it kind of hard to connect with ourselves on that emotional level, to truly be tuned into our own feelings, to feel, to truly feel. And as you know, as I've explained, cups are connected with the water element. So this is all about subjective feelings, not facts, not arguments, not, pros and cons. It's all about how certain things make you feel. And what the Nine of Cups is saying, only you can feel your own feelings. No one else can feel them for you. And it's up to you to make sure that those needs are met. And if you find that the current relationship that you're in is compromising this feeling of happiness within you, just to give you an example off the top of my head, let's say you have a hobby that brings you a lot of joy, that revitalizes you, that feeds your soul. And within the context of the relationship, you're not able to practice, this hobby, for some reason or another. This could be a controlling partner, and it could also be just plain and simple external circumstances that prevent you from finding a way to connect with that hobby that is personally important to you. When that point comes, it is very important. It's absolutely necessary for you to take a step back and evaluate whether going on this relationship is going to be sustainable. And if this situation doesn't apply to you, if you feel like you're able to focus on your hobbies and what is emotionally important to you in the relationship, then this card is just confirmation and encouragement to feel free to dial into those personal needs and to keep being in touch with those internal feelings, and to remind you that it is okay to ask for what you want. It's okay to enjoy those quote-unquote selfish pleasures, or rather, maybe a better way to put it is to enjoy those individualistic pleasures that do not directly come from the connection, the relationship itself, but those things that are personally fulfilling to you. To keep cultivating those things, to not let them go, because if you're able to draw upon those resources of positive energy, that ultimately feeds into the well-being of the relationship as well. So ultimately, it's not a selfish thing to focus on yourself every now and then, because it makes you a better partner if you're more fulfilled in your life. And so, even though relationships are always an interplay between two people, it's vitally important to also focus on yourself, the individual, in the context of this union. If you picked the second option, your card is the Son of Wands. Wow. The Son of Wands, otherwise known as the Knight of Wands in other decks, is quite a mischievous energy. It's fire energy. Wands are connected with the astrological element of fire, and so it has to do with everything creative, everything that feeds your passion, feeds your imagination. And within the context of a relationship, this would call for revitalizing action on both of your parts. So the part of your partner and also yourself. So this is a card that is asking for renewal of passion. The Knight of Wands is a character that has a tendency to draw outside the lines, to disregard rules, tradition, convention, to go beyond what is permitted. It's a rebellious energy. And the point of the Knight of Wands is to incentivize both of you to color outside the lines, to take risks, to get out of your comfort zones. And so it's an invitation for an adventure. People who have been in relationships for a long time can tell you that over the years it might become difficult to keep that fiery part of the relationship alive. And it's increasingly more difficult to nurture, to cultivate an attitude of risk-taking. When you find a partner that you are comfortable with, that you start to build a life with, then sometimes things get slow and things get into a sort of a framework of routine where the next step becomes predictable. The Knight of Wands is going exactly against that pattern. And it's inviting you, especially if you are in a long-term relationship, to look for ways to surprise your partner and to accept surprising new things from your significant other. And if you are in the beginning stages of a relationship, then this is signaling a wild ride, and it's asking you to enjoy the spark, the fire of that initial phase, to completely give yourself to the passion and the excitement of that beginning stage. So looking for ways to invite more chaos into an already existing and somewhat settled in structure of a relationship is definitely welcome when it comes to the Knight of Wands. And if this is a new relationship, then the advice is to tolerate the chaos of a new relationship forming. Of course, within reason. So the Knight of Wands can signal really wild and unconventional and somewhat volatile energies as well. So keeping in mind that your ultimate purpose with a relationship is your well-being, a little bit of uncertainty and wildness and chaos is to be tolerated. If you have picked the third option, the Hematite, your card is the Nine of Pentacles. All right. So this is somewhat of a similar energy to the first card, but it's different in that, and if you want, you can watch this part of the video as well, because I think there might be something there for you. It's also a 9, but it's the 9 of Cups. This is the 9 of Pentacles. And 9s are always about, they always focus on the individual. And within the context of a relationship, it can sometimes become a problem that you forget about your individualistic existence and you focus too much on the communion, the bond between the two of you. But it's important to remember and keep in mind that even though you are in a relationship, you still have that layer of personal needs and wants. And the Nine of Pentacles, which is connected with the earth element, is a card of building and constructing systems and structures for your own self, by yourself, for yourself. So it's a proponent of self-reliance and independence, which can sound a little bit counterintuitive, since we tend to think about relationships in somewhat of a codependent way. At least most of us, I think. We expect our relationships to solve a lot of our problems. And even if we intellectually recognize that the relationship is not meant to be doing that, on a subconscious level, we can still sort of be in that mode of waiting for a solution from our partner or from the accumulated energy of the relationship. Now, the Nine of Pentacles is asking you to, if you haven't done this before, is to start to think about what you can build for yourself in your life right now that is just yours. A project, a job, a hobby, something that has to do with that practical side of life that requires practical skills. It could be potentially money related as well. The Nine of Pentacles emphasizes the importance of looking out for yourself in that way and keeping that strong connection with yourself. And as a way of strengthening that connection, bringing that to this more material, more concrete and tangible level of earth. So, the Nine of Pentacles is asking you to think about what things, what future prospects are individually exciting for you. What are some of the things in your life right now that you could be investing personal energy into that would feed you and your integrity, your sovereignty within the relationship? So now it's important, of course, to emphasize and understand that this isn't, if you're focusing your energies on building and investing into what is important to you, that's not against the other person. It's for yourself, but it's not against the other person. And if your partner in any way, shape, or form is suggesting that you paying attention to and taking care of your projects is against them, then it's really worth evaluating whether that is coming from a toxic place, especially for women or people who grow up with codependent tendencies because of their family dynamics and past traumas. It can be excessively difficult to give themselves permission to look out for themselves. And if you fall into that category, then I would like to invite you to really seriously look at whether you're being prevented from this path of self-actualization by the relationship, whether you feel that you have the freedom and the space to give energy and time and potentially money to things that matter to you, or whether you're being blackmailed or manipulated into giving up on your independence. If no such thing is present in the relationship, then that's awesome, that's good. And then, you know, this card is just giving you encouragement to keep doing that, to keep remembering that you are a separate person, that you are an individual, and focusing on your own projects is not mutually exclusive from giving love to your partner. And if this is a budding relationship, a new relationship, then this is a warning and a reminder to keep your boundaries, to keep to not neglect those individual projects and segments of your life that are only for you, to keep being invested in those as well, while you're also, you know, building a relationship with another person. It's possible and it's healthy. So as long as you find that there's space for you to do that, that you're free to do that, your relationship is on the right track. Otherwise, it's worth taking a closer look. So, thank you everyone for watching this reading. I hope you found it useful. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I encourage you to do so. And I hope to see you in our next video.